ENCOLAWS lawyer, patent trademark attorneys, investment consultants. ENCOLAWS would like to wish you a productive day and update you on our legal document updates week March 2nd, 2023, with the following contents.
Guiding corporations to change the conditions of already issued bonds. On March 5, 2023, the government issues Decree No. 08/2023/NDCP on amending and supplementing and ceasing the effectiveness of a number of articles of the Decree on Private Placement of Corporate Bonds. In previous regulations, the government prescribes that corporations are not allowed to change the conditions and provisions of bonds which are approved at Point C, Article 44, Decree No. 153/2020/NDCP. In 2022, the government allows the corporation to change conditions and provisions of already issued bonds prescribed in Clause 3 and Clause 17, Article 1, Decree No. 65/2022/NDCP. However, there are no specific guidelines. To this moment, in accordance with law provisions prescribed in Article 2, Decree 08/2023, changes in conditions and provisions of bonds must ensure the principles as follows: being approved by a competent authority of a bond-issuing corporation, being approved by the number of bondholders representing 65% of the bond number in circulation. Information on the change of conditions and terms of bonds must be unusually disclosed by the bond-issuing corporation. The total period of extending the bond's term exceeds 2 years for the bond issuance plan and notify to bond purchasers. If the bondholders do not accept to change conditions and provisions of the bond issuing corporation shall make a plan to ensure the investors' benefits. In the case that bondholders do not approve the plan, the corporation must take all the obligations to the bondholders under the bond issuance plan which is made public to investors, including changes in conditions and provisions of the approved bondholders representing 65% of the bond number. Decree No. 08/2023/NDCP takes effect on March 5, 2023. Decree 08 amends regulations on corporate bonds. On March 5, 2023, the government issues Decree No. 08/2023/NDCP on amending and supplementing and ceasing the effectiveness of a number of articles of the Decree on Private Placement of Corporate Bonds. Accordingly, the government issues many new regulations on the issuance of corporate bonds such as, corporations can pay the interest and principal payment upon maturity, guiding the corporations to change the conditions and provisions of bonds. Corporations are allowed to extend the maturity no more than 2 years. Cease the effectiveness of the regulations prescribed in Decree No. 65/2022/NDCP to the end of December 31, 2023, regulations on the identification of the status of professional securities investors who are individuals prescribed in Point D, Clause 1, Article 8, Decree No. 153/2020/NDCP which is amended and supplemented by Clause 6, Article 1, Decree No. 65/2022. Regulations on the bond distribution period of each private placement/offering are prescribed in Clause 7 and Clause 8, Article 1, Decree No. 65/2022. Regulations on the result of credit rating of the bond-issuing corporation as prescribed in Point E, Clause 2, Article 12, Decree No. 153/2020 amended in Clause 9, Article 1, Decree No. 65/2022. Decree No. 08/2023/NDCP takes effect on March 5, 2023. In 2023 to 2027, import tariff quotas for unmanufactured tobacco, poultry eggs from EU. On February 20, 2023, the Ministry of Industry and Trade issues Circular No. 04/2023/TTBCT prescribing the application of import tariff quotas for unmanufactured tobacco and poultry eggs originating from member states of the Eurasian Economic Union in the period of 2023 to 2027. Imports from member states of the Eurasian Economic Union in accordance with the Vietnam, Eurasian Economic Union Free Trade Agreement must have certificates of origin, CO Form AVE, granted according to current regulations. Accordingly, import tariff quotas for poultry eggs originating from member states of the Eurasian Economic Union in 2023, 2024, 2025, 2026 and 2027 are 11,257 dozens, 11,820 dozens, 12,411 dozens, 13,031 dozen and 13,683 dozens, respectively. For unmanufactured tobacco, the import tariff quota in 2023 to 2027 is 500 tons. Import tariff quotas for unmanufactured tobacco shall be allocated to traders that are licensed for cigarette production by the Ministry of Industry and Trade and wish to use imported unmanufactured tobacco for cigarette production. Import tariff quotas for poultry eggs shall be allocated to traders with import demand. Circular number 04/2023/TTBCT. This circular takes effect from April 10, 2023, through December 31, 2027.
The late payment rate of social insurance is ever lowest. On February 24, 2023, the Vietnam Social Security issues official dispatch number 479/BHXHTST on strengthening the reduction of late payment of social insurance, health insurance, and unemployment insurance premiums in 2023.
Recently, Social Security offices of provinces and centrally run cities have taken different solutions to urge the collection and reduction of the amount of late payment of social insurance, health insurance, and unemployment insurance premiums, hereinafter referred to as social insurance. Therefore, by the end of 2022, the late payment rate of such units accounted for only 2.91% of the receivable sum, which is the lowest rate of late payment ever. This is the lowest late payment rate. To continue to ensure the interests of employees and reduce the amount of late payment of social insurance contributions to the lowest rate, Vietnam Social Security requires directors of provincial social security offices and relevant units to implement a number of measures as follows. To strictly follow regulations and procedures for managing the collection of Vietnam Social Security, improve the responsibility of the head, and assign specific tasks and responsibilities to staff. On a monthly basis, to inform and notify results of social insurance contributions to employers and employees for timely and sufficient contribution of social insurance. An urgent notice shall be sent to an employer with late payment from 1 month to less than 3 months. In case an employer fails to make payment, a record of violations shall be made according to regulations. In case an employer delays its payment from 3 months or more, the irregular specialized inspections shall be organized, and fines shall be imposed for acts of administrative violations. The enforcement of decisions to sanction administrative violations shall be conducted if the employer fails to follow the inspection conclusion. To make and publicize the list of units with late payment that have received urgent notices, or have been irregularly inspected, and units with administrative violations that intentionally refuse to make social insurance contributions, on local and central mass media.
The Ministry of Finance issues the new circular on value-added tax. On February 28, 2023, the Ministry of Finance issues Circular Number 13/2023/TTBTC on amending and supplementing a number of regulations on value-added tax. Accordingly, Circular 13 amends and supplements a number of articles of Circular Number 219/2013/TTBTC as follows. To amend and supplement Clause 10, Article 7 as follows. For real estate transfer, the taxable price shall comply with Clause 1 Article 1 of the Decree Number 49/2022/NDCP. To amend and supplement Clause 13, Article 7 as follows. The taxable prices for power production activities of the Vietnam electricity shall comply with Clause 1 Article 1 of the Decree Number 49/2022/NDCP. To replace Clause 2, Clause 3 Article 18 as follows. Business establishments shall be entitled to tax refunds for investment projects under Clause 3 Article 1 of the Decree Number 49/2022/NDCP. Documents for tax refund of investment projects of establishments engaged in sectors and trades subject to conditional business investment, including, a copy of the license, certificate or written certification or approval for doing business in sectors or trades subject to conditional business investment. Circular Number 13/2023/TTBTC takes effect on April 14, 2023.
Charge rates for appraisal of environmental remediation are VND 6 to 61 million. On February 2, 2023, the Minister of Finance issues Circular Number 07/2023/TTBTC providing the rates, collection, remittance, management, and use of the charge for appraisal of environmental remediation and rehabilitation plans by central agencies. Accordingly, the rates, collection, remittance, management, and use of the charge for appraisal of environmental remediation and rehabilitation plans from VND 6 to 61 million depending on each total investment project. In particulars, the total investment capital of a project up to VND 10 billion, and the rate is VND 6 million. The total investment capital of a project from over VND 100 to 200 billion, the rate is VND 30 million. The total investment capital of a project from over VND 1000 to 1500 billion, from VND 3000 to 5000 billion, the rates are VND 48 and VND 53 million. The highest appraisal charge is VND 61 million, with the total investment capital of a project being over VND 7000 billion. Charge collecting organizations shall remit 100% of the collected charge amounts into the state budget. For a charge collecting organization being a state agency that is allowed to have its operating expenses covered by charge revenues, it may retain 70% of the total collected charge amount to cover appraisal and charge collection expenses and shall remit the remaining 30% into the state budget. Ministry of Finance amends the procedure on tax payment extension. The Ministry of Finance issues Decision Number 115/QDBTC on the administrative procedures which are amended and supplemented in tax under the administration of the Ministry of Finance. Accordingly, the Ministry of Finance amends the procedure for tax payment extension as follows. Decree Number 32/2022/NDCP on the extension of deadlines for excise tax payment for domestically manufactured or assembled cars. Decree Number 34/2022/NDCP on the extension of time limits for payment of value-added tax, enterprise income tax, personal income tax, and land rental in 2022. The procedure for tax payment extension is as follows. Step 1. Persons eligible for tax payment extension shall make a dossier and send it to the direct tax agencies or tax administration agencies on revenues. Step 2. Receiving tax agencies. Tax officers shall receive, solve and return the result in accordance with law provisions in the case of direct submission by post. The receipt, supervision, investigation, and acceptance of dossiers shall be processed by electronic data systems for electronic submission, method of implementation, plus directly submit at the headquarters of the tax agency, plus sending by post, plus sending electronic dossier to the tax agency via electronic transactions, the web portal of the General Department of Taxation or the web portal of state agencies or organizations serving TVAN. Decision Number 115/QDBTC takes effect on February 6, 2023.
Thank you for reading our legal document updates and for trusting in our services.